My message is very simple. We all people, we all human, and we are HIV positive.
I am able to accept I have the virus, but why isn't the world able to accept me being HIV positive?
We must change because the situation will affect everybody.
Eastern Europe has one of the fastest growing HIV epidemics in the world. Here, more than 80% of all new infections are amongst injecting drug users and prison inmates. Sergey is 28. He has been a heroin user for the past 6 years.
I got infected with HIV using a needle together with my friends. If we had gone to the pharmacy for a clean needle, the police could take you in. It was easier to inject in 2nd, 3rd or 4th than be taken down to the police station.
Young people like Sergey face the double stigma of being HIV positive and a drug user.
I scared. I scared about my mother, I scared about my family, I scared about me.
I was pregnant, I had a miscarriage and was put in a hospital that doesn't deal with people who are HIV positive. I was put in a separate room there. It was awful, dirty. They even tried to kick me out.
The biggest challenge facing the region in its fight against HIV is how to scale up effective and targeted HIV prevention.
If they're not going to legalize methadone immediately, we're going to see thousands of people getting infected in the next few years. We'll see basically a lot of people dying.
In Asia, injecting drug use has contributed to the spread of HIV, but the sex industry is at the epicenter of the problem. And it is the sex workers, transgender people, and the men who have sex with men who are at highest risk.
The big problem working in a bar is about how to negotiate with clients to have safe sex, and it's hard to refuse if you offer more money.
Transgender sex workers like Tor often feel they are not afforded the same kind of care as other people in Asian society.
We are treated differently. People see us as promiscuous. That's why when we get HIV, we are treated really badly. But the fact is, we are just like other people.
There are still problems with sex discrimination. This group of people is deprived of their basic rights and still seen as second-class citizens.
With many sex workers living with the virus, it's beginning to take hold in the general population.
We fell asleep at the wheel 2 years ago in public education. As a result, we've seen a 30% increase in sexually transmitted infections.
Here in sub-Saharan Africa, HIV affects all parts of the population, though it's women and children who are most at risk.
As a young woman, I feel that I am vulnerable to men.
Rape is all over the place. Sexual harassment is almost a norm, and economic dependence on men. It's all reasons that make women much more vulnerable to HIV.
This is Nonklankla. She was aware of the risk of unsafe sex, but her boyfriend would not use a condom.
When I took a condom, he refused to use it. It was obvious that he will fight me. This was the day of my infection.
Nonklankla found out she was HIV positive 3 years ago.
As a woman, it's difficult to fight HIV and AIDS to our community because you can't fight with a man. You can't scream for seeking help. That's why women get infected by the men.
This is Getwana. She has set up an educational program to try and change male sexual attitudes.
We need to educate men about HIV and AIDS so that they can change their attitudes, which will lead to a change in their behavior.
But initiatives like Getwana's are often hampered by lack of support and investment.
For example, in our program, we work with men who need to distribute condoms to friends and to other people, but we are really struggling to get the enough number of condoms.
In 2001, governments from around the world met at the United Nations in New York and made a series of promises to fight HIV and AIDS. millions of people are still waiting to feel the impact of these promises.
Leaders are just closing their eyes, hoping this is going to go away, and it's not going to go away.
We need the leadership, we need the NGO involvement, and we can really fight this epidemic.
The world as a whole needs its leaders, its politicians to be realistic about tackling HIV.
My message is we are fighting for our lives.